In a historical governing, India's high trial affected downward components of a colonialist-era law how criminalized homosexual. Jayashree Bajoria tell to Arif Jafar, an LGBT militant who was detained by Chapter 377 and consumable 47 days in jail. It was really trauma, recalls Arif Jafar, 47, external the high trial, wherever Thu's milestone governing was brought. A brief, wear glasses person, he wears a brilliant rose key on his jacket, support the reason dearest to his cardiac. Creature rejected potable water supply, creature beaten up each day fair since of my sex attitude was a very terrible expertise. It took me nearly 17 years to though say on he told. Mr. Jafar is one of a coupling of petitioners who closed the top trial, request them to revise a 2013 governing that upheld the Colonialist-Era Act, by that homosexual was a criminality. The Act, a heirloom of UK colonialist guideline, was seldom forced. But it had length been utilized to distinguish versus LGBT human beings and as a tool for the police force and other to bother, blackmail and intimidation them, members of the society tell. But for Mr. Jafar, who identifies as gay and is an LGBT militant relying in Lucknow, the law went far for creature a simple instrument for harassment. On in 4 persons of his associate at the Barossa Confidence, a society-based organization provided data, consulting, coverage and equal supporting for gay and transgender human beings. Mr. Jafar was detained by Chapter 377 on July 8, 2001. Up they were officially detained, commanders hit the men up in social. Police force as well raided their offices and withdrawn publication on sort, sexiness and secure sex, and stacks of condoms, as a few sex toys utilized for demonstrate need. All these were exposed as testimony of their perversity. Police force said the trial how Mr. Jafar and his associate were portion of a plot to contribute homosexual. The men's reiterated pleas for collateral were discarded. Mr. Jafar alleges how he and his associate were singled out for torment and indignity by several police force commanders since of their disgust for homosexual. In April 2017, 2 months following he eventually tell out on his hardship, Mr. Jafar registered his application up the high trial. The newest hearings accompanied a lengthy fight for the decriminalization of identical sex relationships in India. In 2013, the high trial had set towards a 2009 Delhi top trial judgment how Chapter 377 would no much longer use to concerted sex operation amongst adults. In reverse how judgment, the high trial had marked how down there was inadequate testimony to show how sexual minorities were creature exposed to discriminate treat of the country or community. So I requested to give out my history of how I and my associate were struck by the law and how we are yet struck 17 years after, he told. The instance versus Mr. Jafar and his associate has yet not been solved. But in Thu's governing, Mr. Jafar says he has eventually found several consolation. Judiciary Indu Malhotra, one of the 5 judges who brought the unanimous governing, wrote, "Story owes an excuse to the members of the society and their families, for the latency in provided redressal for the disgrace and stigma how they incurred via the centuries. The members of the society were enforced to dwell a lifetime complete of terror of retaliation and harassment." Mr. Jafar was emotion as he readable such speech to me external the high trial. Such speech very indicate a lot to us. All the travel of 30 year was cost it. Presence judgment has done it cost he.